Okay, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today, we're decoding the anatomy of literally one of the greatest athletes in human history, Cristiano Ronaldo. We're going to break down this wild narrative of just relentless ambition. How does a skinny kid transform into an absolute titan of global sports? If you've ever wondered about the behind-the-scenes reality, the obsession, the crazy diets, the calculated recovery routines, to reach the absolute pinnacle of athletic performance, well, you are definitely in the right place.
But before we rewind the clock to the beginning of his journey, I want you to just think about this massive number. 5. 5 Ballon d'Or awards. I mean, that is a staggering figure. Being crowned the absolute best football player in the entire world 5 times over, that doesn't just happen by accident, and it's for sure not just a result of raw talent. It's proof of a sustained, unparalleled level of excellence spanning decades. And today, we're going to explore exactly how he engineered that reality.
So, here is our roadmap for tracking this whole transformation. We've got 5 distinct chapters: the boy from Madeira, the Old Trafford transformation, the Real Madrid machine, conquering the international stage, and finally, the ultimate global icon.
Right. Chapter 1, The Boy from Madeira.
His story really isn't one of instant global royalty or inheriting some sporting empire. He was born in 1985 in a pretty modest household in Funchal, Portugal. His immense natural talent was raw, but it was obvious from the start. But the true turning point? That happened during a fateful 2003 friendly match between his club, Sporting CP, and Manchester United. The legend goes that this 18-year-old kid was so electrifying, his speed and technical flair were so overwhelming that he actually left veteran defender John O'Shea needing medical attention at halftime for dizziness. No joke. The United players were so blown away, they were practically begging their manager, Sir Alex Ferguson, to sign him on the flight home. That raw talent was undeniable, and within just 5 years of that discovery, he was lifting his first Ballon d'Or.
Looking at that rapid, almost unbelievable ascent, it really begs the question. When electrifying speed and crazy technical flair meet the absolute crucible of professional football, how does raw talent actually become a world-class phenomenon? Because as we all know in any high-level industry, talent alone is almost never enough to survive, let alone completely dominate.
Which brings us to Chapter 2, the Old Trafford transformation.
This is where his meteoric rise genuinely took shape, under the strict guidance of Sir Alex Ferguson. When Ronaldo arrived in Manchester, he was kind of this showboating teenager, a pacey, trick-focused winger who just loved entertaining the crowd with a million stepovers. But over time, he intentionally evolved into something else entirely. He morphed into a clinical, world-class, aerial dominant marksman. Actually, it was less of a natural aging process and more of a complete and total reinvention of his athletic identity on the pitch.
To survive and dominate the fiercely physical English Premier League, he completely rebuilt himself. First up, a grueling physical transformation. He packed on serious muscle mass so those bruising center backs couldn't bully him off the ball anymore. Second, a severe mental hardening. Ferguson used this brutal tough love approach, actively ignoring fouls on Ronaldo during training to literally drill the diving and complaining right out of him. He had to learn to stay on his feet and fight. And third, a rapidly evolving play style. He stopped focusing on just beating defenders to look good and channeled all that raw flair into devastating efficiency and end product.
By 2008, all that intense effort paid off in a massive way. He claimed his first Premier League titles, lifted his first UEFA Champions League trophy, and secured the inaugural Ballon d'Or as the very best player in the world. He'd essentially conquered England, but his ambition was far from satisfied. He was already looking towards Spain.
Moving on to Chapter 3, The Real Madrid Machine.
So in 2009, a then world record transfer brings him to the Spanish capital, carrying a level of expectation that would honestly crush most athletes. But during his 9 seasons at the Santiago Bernabeu, he didn't just meet those astronomical expectations, he completely shattered them. He redefined what it meant to be a modern forward, becoming this unstoppable goal-scoring machine. It was no longer just about scoring beautiful or important goals. It was about sheer volume, relentless consistency, and maintaining a state of peak physical condition that turned the art of goal scoring into a highly predictable, incredibly efficient science.
The numbers from his time in Spain are simply jaw-dropping. Over just 9 seasons, he delivered 4 Champions League titles and became the club's all-time leading goal scorer, averaging over a goal a game. It's a statistical anomaly that's still hard to even fathom. And of course, this era was fundamentally defined by a legendary decade-long rivalry with Lionel Messi. It was a daily arms race that captivated the entire sporting world and pushed both men to totally unprecedented athletic heights.
Chapter 4. Conquering the International Stage.
They might expect a player to slow down or get a little comfortable as they enter their 30s. Instead, his hunger for competition and new records remained absolutely undiminished across different continents. From spearheading Portugal's historic UEFA Euro victory in 2016 to embarking on a new challenge in dominating Italy with Juventus in 2018, then an emotional return to Manchester United in 2021, and finally expanding his global influence by moving to the Saudi Pro League with Al Nassr in 2023.
And his impact for his country during this late career period was just as profound. He consistently shattered appearance records, eventually cementing himself as the highest goal scorer in the entire history of international men's football. That is a staggering level of sustained excellence, literally carrying the hopes of his nation on his shoulders for over 2 decades.
Finally, Chapter 5, the ultimate global icon.
Today, Cristiano Ronaldo is so much more than just a footballer. The actual mechanics behind maintaining peak physical condition well into his late 30s and early 40s rely entirely on an unmatched, totally obsessive work ethic. We're talking about adhering strictly to a rigorous diet regimen, eating up to 6 high-protein meals a day, grueling training routines, and an iron-willed dedication to recovery. He famously takes up to 5 90-minute micro-naps a day instead of a traditional sleep cycle just to optimize his body's repair process. He basically transformed his body so his physical output could keep pace with his relentless mental drive, completely defying the typical athletic aging process.
The result of that dedication goes way beyond trophies. He commands a social media following that absolutely dwarfs most global celebrities, making him a true cultural phenomenon. His rise across leagues in England, Spain, Italy, and Saudi Arabia has fundamentally changed how the world perceives athlete branding. He isn't just participating in the global culture, he's actively shaping it, turning his very name into a billion-dollar enterprise. Ultimately, whether you admire his technical perfection on the field or his singular, obsessive focus off it, his trajectory is a definitive study in what can be achieved when immense natural talent meets an iron-willed dedication to self-improvement. It is the ultimate marriage of genetic gifts and relentless, uncompromising hard work. So, I'm leaving you with this thought. What could you achieve with iron-willed dedication? Consider how applying even a fraction of this obsessive focus, that unyielding commitment to self-improvement, could entirely transform your own trajectory. It's a fascinating concept to apply to whatever field you're in. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. I hope you found this breakdown as captivating as I did, and I'll catch you next time.